Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 76 of 2025. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. Follow me on Twitter at OBKiev. Also, the Odds Breakers. Follow us on social media / the Odds Breakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner of the NFL. If you like sports, the Odds Breakers, and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com, click shop, become a member, pick any. For winning cappers, you get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on patreon.com, but if nothing else, please visit the Odds Breakers and become a free picks and Telegram subscriber. Rolling, my friends, into the NFL. Had a great show with Brad Powers yesterday on college football. It's just going fine and dandy. NFL could be a little bit better. Hopefully this week we hit our Refuse to Lose teasers, a nice 3-1. All premium teasers 4-1. There's I had to make some teaser adjustments, and then all of a sudden the line moved after I did that. So I'm going to decide what to do with the Refuse to Lose teaser by the end of this show. But we have a great show for you today because Mr. Lucky is coming on. This is a man that has been sports betting a very long time. He's been following me and following the show and following a lot of the guys I respect, a lot of the guests, VSiN and everything. And he's a very knowledgeable guy in sports bets basically for himself, but he's also on some other shows, a lot of the East Coast. And he agreed to come on, and I'm very excited to bring on some fresh meat, some new guests, some intelligent people to talk some NFL. So we're going to have Mr. Lucky on and go through the NFL slate and see if we can find some value at the current lines. Lots of injury information really this week, a ton of it. And you need to pay attention to injuries when it comes to these line moves. I mean, look at the Ravens, right? Look at the Ravens. Look at the Commanders. Look at some of these teams that have been greatly impacted by injuries. The Bucks. Would the Bucks be a 3.5 point dog if Evans were playing and maybe another one of their linemen? Yeah, it's just a lot going on. And I'm just excited to talk to Mr. Lucky about it. And before we do that, what do we always do? ATS, baby. NFL ATS. And a lot shorter list than college, as we only have 32 teams rather than 136. But there is no teams at all that cover completely every single one of their 4 games. That's just how the NFL is. Games are close. And there is no team that is 0-4 ATS either. So we go to 3-1, baby. The Rams shouldn't be 3-1, but they are. Seattle 3-1. I agree with that. They should have covered their first game against the Niners. The Philadelphia Eagles 3-1. The Jaguars 3-1. The Colts 3-1. And the Detroit Lions 3-1. Chargers 2-1. How about the overreaction on Detroit? Boom. Bet them 3 times in a row just based on overreaction. Smash. You hit 3 times in a row on them. I find that interesting. ATS margin on Seattle is kind of massive at plus 10.4. Since the Niners' schedule hasn't been too hard, I guess it just depends upon what your thoughts are on the Steelers. But Seattle's just rolling. And the Colts plus 9.4 and the Lions plus 9.6 ATS margin. Let's go to the bottom of the barrel. The Saints 1-3. The Texans 1-3. A lot of people might be betting them both this week. The Tennessee Titans 1-3. The Baltimore Ravens 1-3. Believe it or not, the Cincinnati Bengals 1-3, the Vegas Raiders 1-3, and the Denver is 1-2-1. Kind of weird. Just depends upon when you get those lines. Everyone else is kind of stuck at 2-2. ATS margin, Cincinnati minus 14. Guess we didn't downgrade them enough with the Burrow injury. The Titans minus 10.4, absolutely pathetic. What's funny is Houston's actually plus 1.8 ATS margin, even though they're 1-3. Very close covers. Obviously, they should have covered that first game against the Rams, So that's what I say. I think the Rams are the most fraudulent 3-1 team. And look at that line going up for Thursday night. But you're not getting this until Friday morning anyway. So we'll find out if they cover this big 8-9 point spread against a very injured 49ers team. So here we are. Let's move to totals. There's one team that have went over every single time, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. But not sure if they're going over if Lamar's not in. I still have a sneaky feeling Lamar's playing. Buffalo 3-1. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Chicago, New Orleans, the Jets, and Miami all 3-1 to the over. The Baltimore at 4-0 has a plus 15.9 ATS margin, and the Jets plus 9.5 to their over. What happened to that defense over there, Aaron Glenn? I'm wondering what's going on. Weren't you just the defensive coordinator over at the Lions? I think you need to figure that out maybe. All right, let's go to the under. Houston, 0-4, dead under team at minus 13.4 ATS margin to the under. And they're playing Baltimore. Look at the sides clash here. 4-0 versus 0-4. Denver, 1-3. Chargers, 1-3. Atlanta, 1-3. Green Bay, 1-3. Giants, Arizona, and Cleveland, all 1-3. More unders than overs. Not too big of a margin compared to Houston. I guess the Chargers are minus 5.9 to the under. Over-under margin, and Cleveland minus 5.5 has been a big unders team, and Arizona at minus 5.4, believe it or not. That's a weird team, that Arizona Cardinals. Jeez. All right, well, there you have it. So that's kind of the analysis for this week on these covering teams. Hope you enjoyed that, and we will also talk some UFC. I almost forgot. UFC 320. Got a few, well, I got one play for you, and it's in the main event, so that's good. We got a best bet for you in the UFC, so stay tuned for that. UFC 320 at the very end of the show. But without further ado, let's talk NFL with our wonderful guest, Mr. Lucky. Now I'm very excited to welcome for the first time to the show, Mr. Lucky, a longtime sports bettor and investor. You can follow Mr. Lucky on X at FollowFate. Man, Lewis, it's about time. I've been hoping to get you on the show. Here we are, NFL Week 5. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Pleasure to be on the show. Look forward to chopping up the board. It's not my favorite week of the 2025 season, but here we go. Oh, by the way, Kiev, the Lions just scored.
Sure, they're probably still scoring, and looking at their opponent this week, they're probably going to keep that going for a couple more weeks. Yeah, my man. I did pick a tough week for you. I'm sorry. That's the NFL. It's a very convoluted bunch. It's a very convoluted bunch because, if you're just looking at metrics, you're doing it wrong. If you're looking at just spots, you're doing it wrong. If you're looking at just injuries, you're doing it wrong. If you're looking at just the refs or not the refs, you're doing it wrong, in my opinion. I think there's just so many ways to look at this, and we're going to try to find some value. The good news is that, I purposely moved NFL to Thursday, so we have a little more information. Now we know McLaurin's on the practice field. For example, we know that Jaden Daniels is probably going to play. We know that Lamar, now he's looking more out. Yesterday there was really no way of knowing. And if you want to go even farther, you can look at Oliver and Matt Milano out there practicing hitting with their pads on. I mean, that looks like they're pretty. So I think it's important to do things a little bit later. But let's talk a little bit more about you, man. What's your history of sports betting and your love for the game and the passion?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was 7 years old, I was figuring out, why is my dad jumping up and down and going nuts? And my mom kept looking at him, and lo and behold, he had money on the Jets in the '69 Super Bowl. I'm aging myself, Kiev.
Well, there you go.
And that kind of evolved. And he was a hardworking guy. He used to always tell me, and I mentioned it to you recently, or I've mentioned it to friends recently. He was my mentor, and the best advice he ever gave me was, you can bet, you can gamble, you can wager, but keep a day gig, because the books in the long run will beat you if you don't have management skills, money management skills. And, I've used the motto of, you don't have to bet every game, but you can find a game to bet.
Sure.
And I think that's what's kept me successful. I don't move lines. I love NFL handicapping. And it started when I was 7 years old, and I would see my old man play dominoes, my uncle. They sort of taught me the ropes, and the NFL has really changed. I mean, I can tell you from 1991, when the Bills were on their way to a four-peat, got to the Super Bowl, it was a different game. Nowadays, to me, you have to have an offense to win. I mean, I can remember, you're old enough probably to remember, the line was 32. It was an automatic under. You didn't even have to overthink it. And now our totals, when do we see a total of 32 now in the NFL?
Never.
Never. And the game has evolved. And I got to be honest, one of the things I really liked about your content as I started following you on X, Twitter, I love that you brought up the refs.
Yeah.
I love that you brought up the lucky factor, because you and I could handicap a game on Monday. We could handicap the same game on Friday. But ultimately, Kiev, if that red zone penalty doesn't show up, our handicap is correct. We can't handicap that Brad Allen flag or other. And the game is evolving to where I've watched my volume because, oh my God, I mean, the penalties this year.
It's insane.
The injuries this year.
It's
Do you have a theory on what it is?
Poor leadership in the NFL is I would say is more of a fact than even a theory, and I would say that just a convoluted set of rules that I even feel sorry for. You know, we're hard on the refs, but to be honest with you, when I mention refs, I'm also mentioning the league because it's hard on them. If I'm a ref in some. If you're a ref and you're mad that you bring in an eye in the sky situation, then you're dirty anyway. Get out. Yeah, a ref should want to have help and not be embarrassed. The ref that called the no penalty staring at the Saints and the Rams when it caused the change in the Super Bowl matchup, you should not want that embarrassment. You should have the eye in the sky help you. And you shouldn't be judged for a bad call either because it's so hard. But at the same time, we have to factor in tendencies, and thanks for bringing that up. I think that's an important part of the NFL game right now. Until we get better leadership, if that happens in the NFL, it's narratives that really overrule it. But let's get back to you. Is NFL your only sport that you bet, or do you also bet other sports, and what kind of bets do you place?
So I love the NFL handicap the best. My favorite sport is baseball. I grew up being a baseball player. My old man played baseball in Cuba. He went to see Joe DiMaggio hit in 1947. We go back all the way to that era. So baseball is my true love. But, I would say NFL allows me the flexibility to where I don't have to wager every day. I like the fact that it's once a week. I tell my wife, look, here's my bankroll. We've been doing this for a while, and you only have 16 games. The difficulty of baseball is, the grind. I mean, it's every day. You've got to get on that computer. You've got to figure out, do you want to do a first five? Do you want to do the starting pitching? What team is hot? What team is cold? Do you like series betting? NFL to me is while the numbers are firm, it's just once a week, right? And we can look at the opening number. We can look at the look-ahead line. We can look at recent form. I have less to work with, and I find that that's the lane I like. Now, I do a little bit of NFL. I do quite a bit of college football. I do a little bit of NBA. But in general, my cup of tea is the NFL. That's where I think I make.
All right.
I have the most success.
And you do,
but I love sports.
Sides and totals or derivatives too?
So I'm an old school guy. I do very little teasers. I don't believe in parlays. I do some money lines, and I love underdogs. And if I like an underdog, I'll play the money line.
Absolutely.
But to answer the question, look, I've been a big believer since I've been on X. I'm a very positive handicapper guy, and I'm not a handicapper. I don't sell picks. I find myself very sharp, but I respect people. And one of the things I hate about X is the negativity. I mean, you're not going to look. If you and I had a crystal ball, we could pick 80% of the winners every Sunday, but you can't pick 80% against the spread. That's for superpowers. Mm-hmm. And if you're not lying to yourself and you're humbled, you won't be successful. But don't be negative. If Tony George is 5-0 one week, don't lambast him if he's 0-5. And it goes for many, many others that you and I know. I've respected so many people on X. And, not to give you a sermon, but it's hard. NFL, handicapping is hard. Respect people like you that do this for a living. I'm lucky. I love it. I put some games out on Twitter or on X because I enjoy the community, but I don't do it for my full-time gig. I'm lucky. I can pick 3 games, and for you guys, it's your living. Respect people like Kiev, and I get so pissed off at people on X for the negativity,
Many of us wear many hats. You can count on your hand the people that only do sports betting, that's it, without something else like selling picks or like a day job or maybe they own condos and rent them out. There's just, I think a lot of us sports bettors, including myself, wear many hats, and that's important to do. It's like diversification, just like a sports bettor does. We diversify. We have stock accounts. We do all kinds of fun stuff, and if I relied just on sports betting, I'd be a freaking mess, man. I would look 30 years older than I am. So thanks for the kind words, but man, it's great to see how experienced you are.
Look at my gray hairs, Kiev.
we both have, and it's great to get you on. Finally,
that's Phillip Rivers.
Let's talk a little buy low, sell high. NFL. If I was going to buy low on a team, it's so funny. It's like it's hard with injuries and everything, because you really, I feel like coaches is just such a big factor. I'll buy a little low on San Fran. I'm really close to making a play tonight. I know that when this podcast comes out, where I know we're talking live right now for people viewing, and thank you, Wes is viewing. He was awesome last week. He crushed the overs. He's got a nice middle with the total going tonight. I think Shanahan's just a great coach, and even though it's Mac Jones, he can get this team up. Now, I'm not saying I'm betting him. I don't know what I'm doing. I got a prop bet tonight, but I'll buy low on San Fran.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries. It's a division game. The problem that I have with the Rams, and I watch them quite a bit as you and I watch the NFC West. My issue with the Rams has been I don't like their third down play calling. I think they get into a lot of situations where they'll be on a 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 5, and they're not aggressive enough. To me, they have the best. I'll go out on a limb. I think the best player right now in the NFC is Puka Nacua. He's literally unstoppable. I think Josh Allen, you have Josh Allen in the AFC. You have Mahomes in a money game. Puka Nacua, this kid is just, he is literally unguardable. Shanahan tonight, he's up against it. I kind of like the under. I think the Rams would try and run the ball. One thing I don't like about the 49ers tonight is they're on a short week, and I think they can afford a loss. I think they can afford to be 3-2, and the Rams, I think, smell blood. If they're going to beat the Niners by margin, it's tonight.
That's something that might keep me off on. But when I do buy low, sell high, it doesn't mean for this week. It means that the perception in the marketplace is lower than the team you actually think. So like last week, I was talking a little bit about Oregon State or for college. It's like I'm not sure if I'm going to bet them now, but I think next week's a good spot. But I'm going to buy low on them, and hopefully they do get whooped. And I will, get some value on him the next week because I just think Shanahan's too good of a coach. Do you have any team that you think that's...
I'll give you a buy low.
Sure.
I'll give you a buy low.
Sure.
You might not like it. The Commanders.
Okay. Then they're coming to face the Chargers this week. Is that something you're looking at? Or we can obviously get to that game.
Yeah, I think the Commanders are not sure they'll win 10 games, but I think they're in a position this Sunday to give the Chargers their second straight loss. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a bad matchup for the Chargers. I think the Chargers are sort of beat up on the offensive line. Now, that said, when we get to beer bet bangers, I'll tell you something that might shock you, but I like the Chargers a lot. I think I love the coach, but I think this is a bad spot for the Chargers, and I like the Commanders. I like Dan Quinn as a coach. I don't love their back end, but I think it's a bad matchup.
How about sell high?
I would take the Commanders this weekend.
How about sell high? Is there a team you want to sell high on that you think is maybe just getting too much love in the marketplace? I'll just say the Eagles. I mean, they're 4-0. They're covering spreads. They shouldn't be. I mean, I can say the same thing about the Rams. The Rams really should be 1-3 against spread, not 3-1. But I mean, the Rams should have covered against the Eagles too, right? The Eagles are just getting by, and their special teams was the reason that Tampa Bay couldn't cover last week, and Tampa Bay outgained them by over 100 yards. You know, somehow I can't figure this freaking team out, man. It's just one of those situations where, you know, they're covering and they're losing the box score. That messes up a metric better like me. That messes my head up, man. And it's like I almost feel forced to go against them because of it.
I mean, the Eagles are, what I'll say about the Eagles, they remind me of the old Laker teams, you know. They kind of showed up and they knew they were going to win and didn't care about point spreads. And I think the Eagles, bottom line is they're 20-1 their last 21.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, Jalen Hurts, for people that, you know, say, oh, their passing yardage isn't good, they're not playing well. Well, I think the problem they've had this year, they've had injuries in the offensive line. But, you know, he's a winner. I think that's one game this weekend where I think there's a majority of people, I'm not one of them, that like the Broncos plus the points. Kiev, I don't see it. I think it's tough to go into Philly and win. And I think the numbers telling me that they wanted Bronco money. And I think they got Bronco money. And I think the Eagles will find a way to win.
It went 4.5 to 3.5, so they did get Bronco money. Some of it was
I think they wanted Bronco money.
Some of it was mine at 4.5. But now you get to 3.5, and you think you're up by 3, lose a touchdown at the end. You lose by 4. You lose the spread. I don't lose. But the contest lines, the closing lines will lose, right? Sometimes you just you bet a line before you even cap it, and you just know which direction it's going to go by the power ratings and by your numbers, and you're like, this is going to go down. You bet it, and then you would decide later because you can go out harder on one side. You can go for a straight middle on one side. You know, so I was wondering if this even gets down to 3 by kickoff, depending upon. But I will say that, man, Sean Payton has just been really frustrating to me because he's a guy that they should have been up by 30 like quicker against the Bengals, but it's just terrible, stupid plays. It's like J.K. Dobbins he's averaging 8 yards per carry. Oh, what do? You throw the ball 3 times in a row. Oh, that's real smart. You know, that drove me nuts last week, and I had the Broncos in Survivor last week, and so I'm just like, they should be up by more, but you know. That's what you deal with, and that's why at the end of the day, Lewis, I bet on coaches, man. It's just what I do, and I think that
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I think the Broncos leave a lot of points on the field.
They do. That's a frustrating thing.
You know, and I had the Broncos. I had them fairly heavy on Monday. I thought that was just a smash spot for them, but. They leave points on the field, and I'll tell you, back to the Broncos, what irritates me about this team is not sure they're as good as advertised. I mean, Bo Nix, you know, we have him in his second year. Why is Sean Payton on a 4th and 1 here in L.A.? Why is he not going for it? Mm-hmm. I mean, you knew the minute they punted that they were going to lose that game. Now, I took a great play by Herbert. And the other thing is, why are they throwing deep on 3rd and 10? I mean, the margin of error on a 40-yard bomb is too high. Move the chains.
When you're a better team.
And I don't trust Bo Nix. I don't trust Bo Nix on the road.
It's hard to trust Bo Nix on the road. And he threw that interception.
Not a contest play, but I like the Eagles.
He threw the interception against the Colts, which put him back in that game for that awful penalty field goal, and that's and that got him going. So, yeah, it's hard to trust him on the road. He shouldn't have thrown that pick. But that was also Sean Payton calling a stupid call as well. Let's go to Dublin. We got the Vikings at the Browns, and the Browns are plus 4.5. The total's 35.5. Anything on this game?
Well, I mean, on my pool, I think it's the Vikings or pass. They're not getting any of my money. Listen, Carson Wentz is like my 74 Nova. I can get it out of the driveway, and it might go 5 minutes, and then it just runs out of gas. I mean, do you really trust this guy? And I think the Brown defense, they're going to be all over him. Plus, you add the injuries. I don't love it. I'm not going to bet it. And I think for our viewers, I think the problem that I have with that game is it's the scheduling spot. I mean, you have Minnesota they played in Ireland. Now they went to England. And you have the Browns, correct me if I'm wrong, they played Detroit, flew back to Cleveland, and then left for England. That's a tough spot. But do you trust Carson Wentz? 17-10 final. Gun to my head, 17-10 Vikings final. Rookie quarterback.
No, I don't.
And by the way, why are the Browns starting a rookie quarterback on the road against Flores' defense? I mean, that's just so par for the course for that franchise.
That's true. But
stupid.
But it's stupid because he's going against a Flores defense. What's kind of smart about it is that the Cleveland Browns offensive line is so terrible that a statue like Joe Flacco is not going to move the ball. At least Dylan Gabriel might be able to roll out, make some Kyler Murray type situations. I get that. The problem with the Vikings is that they're so freaking banged up, man. They are really, really beat up. I mean, they lost their linebackers early, right? They're playing on second-string linebackers. We saw their defense show up against the Bengals, but did that age well after what we saw with the Bengals? I mean, not really. It's almost like they've had a pretty easy schedule now that you see, with the Bears defense and everything that looks terrible. You guys got Batty's out, Cashman's out. You got Andrew Van Ginkel, the best pass rusher, probably is out. Maybe Jonathan Allen is. I don't know. It's just a lot of banged up guys there. And then now you got a mobile quarterback with Dylan Gabriel. Now, if this was staying in Ireland, in Dublin, this is a complete scheduling spot. But they had to jump. Yeah. They also had to move themselves. I'm taking Cleveland plus 3.5, man. I think it's just like the Jackson Dart new quarterback in, little refreshment. When you have Carson Wentz, too, if you look at pressure rate, the Cleveland Browns with Myles Garrett is number 1 in the league right now in pressure rate. They were really in that game a long time against Baltimore. They eventually got to Green Bay. I think they keep it.
They play hard.
They play hard. They keep it 3 points. Yeah. So this will be an official podcast play for me plus 4.5.
They play hard, and probably. I mean, that's 30. What is it? What's the total? 35.5, 36.
It's low. It's low as heck. You got to look dog when it's. As you know, when you look.
It's under a pass, right?
Yep. Raiders, Colts -7, total 47.5. This is probably a good spot for both teams as the Colts kind of came off that ugly loss and they probably want to prove something. I mean, I have conflicting numbers. I have a power rating and an algorithm, and they're both, the power rating's lower, the algorithm's higher. I think the Raiders are in an embarrassing spot. I would lean Raiders just because of that. I think that Pete Carroll he was a good coach for a while. He's kind of been bad lately, but Geno Smith, maybe he gets him going. That Raiders offensive line is horrible, but I almost feel like maybe the Colts are just a little shell-shocked here. I don't know. I'm passing. I'm not even teasing.
Yeah, I would pass that game, but I'll say this. Geno just threw an interception. Just kidding. That guy.
Against my Bears, baby. How about that? The Bears picked their way into that game. If he just doesn't throw interceptions, they win that game.
Profession.
And it shows that they should be less of probably more of a 5.5 or 6, but it's just like so high variance to me.
I don't know what to make of the game because I generally like teams that were embarrassed at home, and Geno came off a really bad game. Very impressed with the Colts. That team has a very good scheme, like the coach. Danny Dimes playing out of his head. Great running back. Good offensive line. Good defense. probably a Colts play. I would pass. The other thing about that game that I don't like is that, Colts are mad. They gave away the game against the Rams. They're mad. Now they're coming home. Do you trust that Raider defense?
No.
Not really. I mean, Max Crosby's a great player, but you can pass on the Raiders. So I would say it's probably a no-go for me, but I would look at the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, not to interrupt you, I think the Colts are a good Survivor play this week for those in Survivor, if you have them.
The Colts are. I use the Colts myself.
Okay.
I'm impartial to that. What pisses me off is I use the Cardinals, and now the Cardinals are in a freaking home run spot against a terrible Titans team. I mean, I guess the Titans are in a home run spot every week since they haven't won, right? But
Yeah.
but the Cardinals are like, and this is just me
True.
ranting, home run spot. It makes me like, oh, I could have used them. But I've got other ideas for Survivor, and it's not the Bills. Broncos versus Eagles, we kind of covered that, right? Unless you made a play, should we move on to Giants versus Saints?
Yeah, I would just say in that game, it's one of those where I think a lot of people like the Broncos. I mean, is Mr. Diva, wide receiver Brown, going to get targets? We'll know early in that game. I think we'll know early if the Eagles came to play.
I mean, his complaining is making it so it's bad for the Eagles. I will say that. Giants Saints minus 1.5, total 42.5. Anything in here?
Saints are going to win this week or next week. Pass.
I like the Saints, and I like the Saints because the Giants are in a big letdown spot. Got their first win. Got it in a lot of weird ways. Injuries, Herbert just getting sacked, and just a lot of momentum. Jackson Dart. Then they lose Neighbors, and that just almost fires the team up more. But they lost Neighbors. They lost their best guy. I do like Scadaboo a ton. But the Saints are 15th in rush EPA, so it's not one of their terrible things. They might be able to slow Scadaboo down a little bit. And the Saints, they're going to win a game. It's like you said, it's this week or next week. I think it's this week. They kind of played with the Bills a little bit more last week, and Rattler's been doing a little bit better than I assumed. Metrically, the Saints not great, but neither are the Giants. The Giants
Maybe an under.
That defense is a sieve, though. I don't know.
Got to be an under, right?
I think it's erratic because I think I can see a pick 6 or 2 from Jackson Dart in this game. I'm going to bet the Saints based upon the spot, but my numbers say Giants minus 1. But I got Alan Eck also as the ref, who's a big home ref. I think that I think that the Giants can definitely lose this game, and it's probably going to be the Saints' first win. So, but I'm only giving you a money line here, which is minus 120. I'm not going to lay 1.5. I'm doing Saints minus 120. This could be
wouldn't talk you out of that one. Yeah,
this could be a better. I think the money line is a better play. And we'll count that. How about another wonderful game with the Cowboys versus the Jets? The Jets plus 2.5, total 47.5.
Oh, come on, Kiev. This is a great week. Are you kidding?
It's
Here's
a
another beauty.
week.
Oh, my God. First of all, I will tell you this. I will tell you this. I came this close when I went to Westgate in July, Kiev. Excuse me, fans here of Kiev. I came this close to betting the Jets over their win total. I came this close. Thank God I did not. I mean, this team... did they just have a penalty? Aaron Glenn, I like the guy, but he looks like a fish out of water to me.
He is a fish out of water.
I don't know.
How do you go from Robert Saleh to him? What? Did you see that Lions defense? The Lions defense was terrible last couple years.
Oh my God! And the Jets defense. For all the publicity they get, they stink.
It's hard to handicap the Jets. They move the ball. But they had 13 penalties last week. They outgained their team, but they're turning the ball over. They're like the Jaguars of the last 3 years right now, with Fields there.
Oh.
And here's another thing. Here's what I like about the teaser leg, though. The Cowboys defense is a sieve, and Glenn freaking chewed their asses out on Monday. or on Tuesday because the game was Monday. Chewed them out. Whenever your ass gets chewed by your boss, you come to work the next week. Move the score to 8.5. That's where I like this one. Tease the game. I think it's a great teaser spot for the Jets.
And Kiev, not to laugh on that game. Sorry, not to laugh on that game. The Cowboys lose this week or next week. And one thing about that game I don't like, it's a Jet spot because you have the Cowboys from home dog to road favorite. Caveat emptor is what I would say. Caveat emptor there.
Yeah, that's an interesting spot. Home dog to road favorite. Yes, you don't love that. Here's a beauty. The Texans at the Ravens. Oh, this spread only moved, 10 points? It was plus 8.5, plus 7.5 in some books. This was a massive line move. And it's not just Lamar, it's the rest of the team. And to be honest with you, when Lamar is told out and when these other guys are told out, this is going to go 3.5. I think this is going to be the biggest contest play. But if you're sucking, do you want to go away from it? That's all contest strategy. I think it's too early for that, by the way. I still feel like Lamar's going to play.
I got a weird feeling about that game.
Can they afford to go to 1-4? I think if a couple other guys play, Lamar will be like announced in as a heroic thing. Oh, Lamar's going to play. It's like, dude, I'm not sure. And Lamar misses practice all the time. He misses Wednesdays and Thursdays. I don't know if people have been keeping track here, but throughout his career, that's what this man does. He brings drama. And the NFL loves it because they're now more of a show league than an actual competition league. But I still have a feeling Lamar plays, and I'm not going to put the Texans into my contest unless I know for sure.
No, do not.
Yeah,
this one smells to high heaven, as they say. To me, this is one of these spots where the Ravens will find a way with Cooper Rush. I'm not sure Lamar will play, but I wouldn't be shocked. I think the Ravens end up winning the game. I'll tell you what, the Ravens will either win this week or upset the Rams next week.
I'll be ready for that one. Are they at the Rams next week? Seems like you...
No, they go... with the assumption Lamar's injured, the Ravens host the Rams next week.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Here's another beauty for you. The Dolphins are playing the Panthers.
This one's easy. This one's easy. Pass.
It's easy to talk about.
I mean, I have a trend. I have a thought on it if you want to hear my thought. If the Panthers are dogs, play the Panthers.
Could flip by the end of the freaking by Sunday.
It would be Panthers or pass. I have no interest in either team. In fact, I have an investment in this Dolphins team. I have a very sizable bet on their under 8.5. I got it the minute it came out.
Let me go to the Cardinals, and they're minus 7.5. It's my teaser leg. It's all I got to say. I don't like the way Murray plays. I don't like how they're up 15 and let teams back in. That's just their prevent defense. They constantly play all game. It's just bend don't break, high two cover shell. I don't like it. I like the teaser because I think the Cardinals are a home run spot.
You and I talked about it when they played week 2. I'll never forget what I thought of you because we commented, I think, on X. And sure enough, they're up 27-3 against Carolina.
And I was at the game.
By the way, I had the Cardinals.
And I was at the game.
And they got lucky to win.
Yep, they did. Yeah.
By the way, Kiev, because you're there, is Kyler Murray the guy?
No.
How would you answer that?
No, he's not. He's gonna be great against some great opponents and bad against some bad opponents for the rest of his career. He's never gonna get to an NFC Championship game, or he just can't. I mean, here's the thing: he's fun. Probably sells a few jerseys. Is that the Cardinal? I mean, if you want to be like borderline playoffs for your whole career because you're not sucking like the Saints or something, then yeah. But as a Bears fan, I'd rather have him suck and have a chance at the Super Bowl. I've always had that philosophy, but no, he's not. Bucks versus Seahawks. Seahawks minus 3.5, total 44.5. I have some weird conflicting things on this too because It's Rolstad, who's a very road-prone ref. I have my power ratings that the Bucks are better than the Steelers, are better than the Seahawks, but my metrics just love the freaking Seahawks. They love it. They love him, and I think it's the way the Seahawks ever since that Niners game. They outgained the Niners and lost, and I lost that bet. And then I didn't bet them again, and they blow away the Steelers. They blow away the Saints, and they just beat the Cardinals. And that was another weird Kyler Murray game. The Kyler Murray should have won that game, to be honest with you. But I just think that my power ratings are more right than my metrics. I'll lean the Tampa Bay Bucks right now, but not playing them, not yet.
That should be a really good game.
Well, more injuries.
It's going to be a case.
More
does
injuries.
Baker find a way? Baker find a way late.
Without
Seattle defense has been good,
and without Evans.
Why is that number? Yeah, why is that number 3.5?
It's 3.5 minus 120 on DK. Why is this?
They want Tampa money. They want Tampa money.
They certainly do want Tampa money. They're not getting a ton of it. It's the Bucky Irving injury that's messing things up. It's the fact that they lost those two guards. But here's the thing. They lost those two guards a while ago. They got Wirfs back, and they outgained the shit out of the Eagles. I'm leaning more and more towards the Bucs. Yeah. That's all I got to say. You got the Lions at the Bengals. Bengals plus 10.5, total 49.5. There's probably going to be a decent amount of survivors on the Lions. I mean, some people might want to save them if it's circa for Christmas. But I think that maybe Christmas, you got the Eagles against the Bears, and you got the Baltimore Ravens against the Bengals on Christmas. So it's one of those I'd rather save. And you got the Commanders hosting the Cowboys in Christmas. I mean, do you want to play the Lions at the Vikings on Christmas? Not really.
No.
No.
So
I think that the Lions are a decent survivor play if you don't have the Cardinals. And that's all I got to say about this, because I also see it's Sheffers, and I'm not a big fan of him as a ref, and he's a home ref. But the Bengals are so embarrassed. Are they going to just play out of their mind just because of what happened? They're on a short week. I don't know. I see the Lions could win by margin too. Here's the thing. My metric number is 20. My power rating number is like 9. My metric number is 20. But what's real? I don't know yet. It's still too early.
Yeah, and the thing about that game, Kiev, is you have a double-digit dog on the road. A double-digit home dog. I'd stay away from it, but I would say Bengals lose by 20.
Yeah, I would say.
I just don't think they can't stay with
I think,
Detroit.
Yeah, in Jamar Chase, I think he's pretty pissed and toast right now.
I mean, in our lifetime, has there been a greater what's the word I'm looking for? Has there been a greater discrepancy from a quarterback to a backup than Burrow?
Yeah, no, there's not. Not really.
I guess
this week with Lamar Jackson to.
And Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Maybe this week there is.
I mean, Browning is awful, Kiev.
Why would you have Cooper Rush and not like a Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Because Cooper Rush is a statue. It's the opposite of what the Ravens do. And now nobody's going to respect the run of the quarterback, and they're going to really be able to guard those receivers. You know what I'm saying.
That's the highest total. Who knows? I mean, not much of a total player, but
I think the Lions are up
37-20. 37-20 Lions.
Bengals won't get 20. Bengals will get. Okay. I say team total under for the Bengals. Team total over for the Lions. The Lions might get to 40 some points themselves. Commanders, Chargers. So I know you like the Commanders a little bit, right? I haven't made a bet on this, but I think the Commanders could be a popular teaser leg. The Chargers line is pretty beat up, and I'm pretty sure Joe Alt's not going to play, is he?
No, he won't play. I kind of like the under, too, in that game.
Yeah, that makes sense. You already talked about the Commanders here. My problem with this one is Harbaugh is such a good coach, and I hate whenever I bet against coaches. And I don't think Dan Quinn is that good of a coach. I think he got by just pure Jaden Daniels awesomeness, just being so great. But Joe Alt's listed as doubtful. Derwin James is limited on Wednesday. Taheeb Still is limited. Will Dissly, limited. He hasn't played in a while, actually. Another situation, man. Of course, they lost Najee Harris. At least they got Marion Hampton. I think that's kind of a push, so I think they're fine. They lost Khalil Mack back after they beat the Chiefs. There's still a lot of problems with this Chargers team. And, they lost Denzel Perryman, the other linebacker. This one's tough. I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. Maybe the smarter is taking the Commanders or teasing them. Pass.
Can I ask you a question on that game?
Sure.
Why is that line only 2.5?
2.5 juiced. I'm wondering why is it 2.5? Because why is it when the Commanders went to the playoffs last year, same roster, or actually got better, same roster, McLaurin's coming back, most likely. He had some one-throughs. And the Chargers were the Chargers last year, but no one took them seriously. Everyone, ever since the Commanders beat the hell out of the Lions, they took them seriously. That was an away game. Why is it only 2.5? Or why is it 2.5 when it should be pick 'em almost? And I'm thinking like a market, like my advanced metrics, because of what the Chargers did, has the Chargers by more. It's another strange situation, isn't it?
Chargers had 14 penalties last week. 14. A Jim Harbaugh team with 14 penalties. Wow. To me, it's 2.5 because they want Commander money, Charger money.
That's true. I think so too. They might want some. Any 2.5, you think they want favorite money, right?
Now listen. I'm no expert here, but I'll tell you what my eyes see usually. If you have a 3.5 and you have a 2.5, lay the 3.5, fade the 2.5. If the Chargers, to me, this is just me speaking, if the Chargers were 3.5, I would respect more the Chargers side.
I think there's a lot of sharp people that look at it like that. As a matter of fact, that's been talked about more and more. It's smarter to take the plus 2.5, lay the minus 3.5.
Don't bet the game.
Or just pass the game, because we don't
bet the game.
We don't have to bet these games. Sean Hockley was the guy last week with the Giants Chargers. All right, Bills Patriots. I think my numbers say that the Patriots should cover 8.5. My problem is that Elliot Oliver and Matt Milano haven't played in a while. And I think that last week the Bills were kind of playing with their food with the Saints a little. I saw it as kind of a flat spot for the Bills. I think that people in the Survivor was a little worried too last week, and that's what scared me out. But now everyone said they're saving the Bills for this week. But my problem is that this Patriots should have destroyed the Steelers, and I got lucky on that one. I was on the Steelers, and I was like, that is when I was on the wrong side, right result. The freaking Patriots fumbled all over the end zone.
Me too.
Last week,
Me too.
The Patriots freaking destroyed the Panthers like a great team does. I'm not going to lie. The Patriots have Milton out, or not practicing today, a defensive tackle. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that Oliver and Milano are coming, but I lean the Patriots for sure.
Disagree.
All right. Good. Let's hear it.
Respectfully. I think it's a Bill spot. I think it's a tough spot for the Patriots. Night game, Drake May night. When the Bills usually want to play, they put 40 on a team. In fact, look at their numbers when they win. Usually by margin.
And that's why it's a lean. I agree. I think it could happen. You're right.
And listen, I love Rabel. I was not sold on their 8.5 wins this year, but that culture's heading in the right direction. Drake May is the real deal. I think this kid can play. Bills are great on third down. Bills have the best offense in the league. Bills, you and I. In fact, I'll tell you. I'll give you kudos. You're the reason I put this wager on Westgate. You and Yeomans talked about this. I took the Bills better than 4-1 odds to have the best record in the NFL.
Oh, I love that bet. And we took them and the one to.
Thank you, Kiev. It was you and Yeomans who convinced me on that one.
I appreciate it, man. Well, don't thank me until it cashes, my friend, because it's never over until it's over.
Bills will win 13 or 14 games.
And you know what? It is a big spot for me, especially if the Bills were playing with their food last week, like I just said. I just think numbers-wise, And maybe it's because Milano and Oliver are out, because those are two key cogs in their defense that they haven't had. These guys are sick, and I think maybe they do put it. It's a high variant game, and you know how the Patriots can be on the road. They can get nervous. Chiefs, Jags plus 3.5, total 46.5.
Whew. I had the Jags last week on the road.
Did you have the Chiefs at home against the Ravens?
I did have the Chiefs. I had a heck of a week last week. Not necessarily in the pocketbook. I did well, but I had a really good week in my pools. This is a tough one, Kiev. Mahomes is 5-0 against the Jags. The Jags have a very good defense. It's going to come down to, I think, the hook. I can see 2017. I like the under. I can see 2017 Kansas City. I just can't see Goldilocks beating Mahomes. But the problem with the game is it's going to be jumping. And Liam Cohen has got this Jag defense playing well.
Liam Cohen got in that fight with Saleh too.
He did, yeah.
Some weird stuff going on. I think the Jaguars finally have a good coach, and I think that's all they needed. I think Lawrence is playing with some poise. They've got backups and the receivers like Travis Hunter has not been unleashed yet. This Chiefs
13 plus 13 takeaways.
The Chiefs are not a good team.
4 weeks.
The Chiefs are not good laying over 3.5, as you know. Over the past few years, they've been bad laying points.
I like the under.
I don't disagree with the under. I like that too. Can Lawrence do it?
You like the Jags?
I kind of like them at 3.5. Kind of.
Yeah, I do too.
I'll give you. I'm just going to stick with my Browns plus 4.5 and Saints money line. I'm not giving out premium plays, but I will say, or not all of my premium. I will say the Jags are probably a little bit more live at 3.5 than people think, and I think the Chiefs are fat and happy for beating the Ravens too a little bit. They're not backs against the wall like they were now. They're 2-3.
Right.
They're is it 2-3? No, they played 4 games. They're 2-2. So they lost against the Eagles. Yeah. I think that the Chiefs little fat and happy right now. They did take care of pretty good business against the Giants, though. They did take care of business there pretty well when their backs were against the wall, but their backs are not against the wall, and it's a tough one.
Week 6, good Monday night game. Week 6, Lions at Chiefs.
That's a great Monday night game. That's a fantastic Monday night game. All right, well that brings us to Beer Bet Bangers. Any dogs, any plus money, anything bet that you like right now is what we can go with. Sometimes it's just easy to grab a dog that you think will win outright. What do you think?
I'm gonna give you a future that's gonna knock your socks off.
All right, I love that.
The Detroit Lions will be in the Super Bowl in the NFC.
They'll be in the Super Bowl. All right, well let's take it. What's the number on it?
And they will face. You ready for this? The LA Chargers.
Lions versus Chargers. Listen to that. The guy that's just about to bet against the Chargers is telling him we're going to the Super Bowl. Just messing with
I've got to have an off the wall beer bet banger here on
it's a great
debut performance.
So that's the Super Bowl exacta, basically. Just who shows up. So is that what you're calling? What's the number on that?
Well, I actually think the Bills probably are if anybody beats the Bills, it'll be the Chargers in the AFC. How's that?
Okay, and that's fair. And
I love the Lions, and I love the Lions in the NFC. That offense, they've got something to prove. No Johnson, they lost their defensive coordinator. Do you see an NFC team stopping the Lions this year if they're healthy?
I think the NFC is up in the air, and I think whoever goes through home field is going to get it. And now they lost to the Packers. You don't want the Packers to play in Lambeau because they're a different team. They are officiated different. The Packers are, as you've seen, against the Browns and now the Cowboys. The Packers are different. Whoever gets home field is going to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't know who it is. Could be the Eagles. Could be, like you said, it could even be the Commanders. But I think that the Lions are great. Right now, the Lions are the highest power rated team in the NFC for me. So I agree with you on that front. Beer bet banger for me. I'm going to go with the Browns to win outright. I know it's a cop-out because I already picked them against the spread, but it's plus 180, so we'll go with the Browns.
I'll give you one for the week. I'll take the Commanders to win outright on the road.
Okay. Commanders outright for you. That is some wonderful discussion we had. Too bad that I picked such a hard week, but you got through it, Lewis, like a champion. You're a professional.
Pleasure.
That's why it's wonderful. Could you tell our listeners where they can get your wonderful information in place?
You can find me. You can find my sarcasm on X at Follow Fade. Real name Lewis. Mr. Lucky on X. Pleasure, Kiev. Nice talking with you. Thank you for the invite. And as I tell everybody on Twitter and X, let's pay the people.
Let's pay the people. Make sure you follow Mr. Lucky. He's a great follow at Follow Fade, one of the most genuine people out there, one of the most experienced sports bettors out there as well. We'll be talking this weekend. Best of luck to you, Mr. Lucky.
All the best.
Now it is time for our Refuse to Lose teaser. That is 3-1. So I'm liking the Jets. They got yelled at, like I said before with Mr. Lucky. Take them to 8.5. Just too much value on that against like one of the worst defenses in football in the Cowboys. So take the Jets at home up to 8.5. I love that. And I also like the Cardinals home run spot after 2 losses in a row. They're playing the Titans. They got extra time, 10 days rest. Massive spot for the Cardinals here against the Titans. So take them to 1.5. If the Cardinals didn't play such shitty prevent defense, I'd lay the points with them. But that'll be our Refuse to Lose teaser. Now it is time for
The Sharp Side of the Force.
Sharp Side of the Force is brought to you by The Season. For the largest sports contest in all the land, please visit www.theszn.com for 20% off. Terms, conditions, and location apply. All right. NFL Week 5 sharp money movement as of Wednesday. Sharp money on the actually, as of Thursday, I should say. Texans plus 7.5 down to minus 2.5 against the Ravens. 24% of the tickets and 39% of the money. And some of this stuff is injury related. Also keep in mind that there's been a lot of sharp moves back and forth. Lots of buybacks this week. Broncos plus 4.5 to plus 3.5 at the Eagles. 44% of the tickets and 66% of the money. Seahawks from Pick'em to minus 3.5. Partially injury related, hosting the Buccaneers, 28% tickets and 39% of the money. Chargers minus 1.5 to minus 2.5, hosting the Commanders, 46% of tickets and 66% of the money in sharp totals. You got the Texans versus Ravens under 47.5 to 40.5, 61% of the tickets and 64% of the money. Definitely injury related. Then Titans versus Cardinals under 46.5 to 42.5, 61% of the tickets and 72% of the money. Now it's time for a little UFC discussion. UFC 320. UFC does take a little bit of a backseat just because, it is time for the NFL and college football. But I will say, I still love the UFC. I still try to watch it and usually watch every single pay-per-view. We have a massive pay-per-view here because you have a rematch. We have Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. And I do have a play on this, and it's a simple play. If you know anything about Magomed Ankalaev, he's a terrible, marketable person because he's a great fighter that just keeps it going and wins by decision. That's all he freaking does. It's 3.5 rounds is minus 120. Over 3.5, seriously. This fight went to 5 rounds last time. Magomed doesn't knock anyone out. He doesn't put his chin out there. Pereira's going to play it safe too. Magomed might even try a little takedowns and bore up this fight a little bit. Probably some cage control against Pereira. Pereira will get frustrated. Probably won't get caught because Magomed does not knock out a lot of people. That's the whole problem with Ankalaev. Pereira's got 10 knockouts in his 12 wins. So you would think that maybe he can knock him out. But Magomed's never been knocked out. He's got 10 KOs and 10 decisions. So when was the last time Magomed knocked someone out? Well, you got now, glass chin Johnny Walker back in 2024. But before that, you have to go back to 2022 with Anthony Smith. I don't think Pereira's getting knocked out. It's just tough. And Pereira's been knocked out once against Izzy back in 2023. Just kind of a weird situation. Caught him. I thought the ref stopped it pretty quick. But either way, like the over, best bet. And I like that for 2 stars.
Well, I've been with the best, and I beat the best. I've retired more men than Social Security.
Hate to say it, but there's a lot of favorites I love in this card. Merab Dvalishvili, he's minus 400. He's actually minus 375 at DraftKings. He's facing Corey Sandhagen. Sandhagen's a little bit over the hill right now. Bantam weight. Sandhagen's a great fighter, but Merab's just too quick, too fast. He comes in sharp. Sandhagen's more of a stand-up fighter himself, and he's great at it. He'd have to literally catch Merab sleeping, and that's what you're betting on if you're liking that. Merab, a great parlay piece. Well, great. I mean, you need like 3 minus 375 or minus 400 to make even money. But, add him to a bet you might like. Maybe you like a fighter like Daniel Santos at minus 150. You can make him pretty much even money or better if you put in Merab with it, right? So, that's kind of the situation I like Merab for. But, I mean, he's the best pound-for-pound fighter probably. Bam, I don't know. Maybe Islam is, or maybe Topuria, but I think he's amazing. And he's just so hard to hit, this Merab guy, and takes you down and laughs at you. That's what he does. Sandhagen doesn't have a chance. Yuri Prokotska versus Khalil Roundtree. Yuri's a good parlay piece at minus 195. Khalil's been better, though. I will say he's improving, and Yuri can be stupid and leave his chin out there. But if Yuri's focused, I mean, he's just a better all-around fighter, and Yuri can do some takedowns, and Khalil Roundtree can't. That's where Roundtree gets in a little trouble. And if Roundtree's guarding takedowns, he's going to also get hit a little bit more often. Yuri's, all martial arts and the better fighter than Khalil. But I will say I do like how Khalil's been as of recent. He smoked Jamal Hill. We were on Lounge that fight. Jamal Hill has been so overrated. But he lost to Pereira, got knocked out just like Yuri did twice. Both of them just can't figure out Pereira. But he beat Anthony Smith, and Anthony Smith was kind of on, twilight of his career back in 2023, December 9th, pretty much 2024, right? Chris Dawkins, who's a chump. Dustin Jacoby, split decision. Jacoby almost beat him, He's also lost before to Marcin Prachnau and Ian Cotalaba. I expect that he got better since then. But, it's Roundtree, and looking at his stats, I just think the takedowns could be a problem, and I think Yuri can get takedowns. Is Yuri smart enough to do that, or does he want to just do his samurai bullshit? I mean, that's the whole problem, but that's why he's a favorite of minus 200 and like that minus 300. Roundtree's takedown defense is only 58%. It's not good enough. Roundtree doesn't go for takedowns. He's just a one-pump chump type of fighter. Yeah, Yuri's a parlay piece for sure. Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. Emmett's on the end of his career, 19-5. He was fun for a while, but Zalal's better. Emmett's probably got no chance, but are you going to bet a minus 550 in any parlay? Probably not. Really not a hell of a lot to talk about in this one. Abus Magomedov versus Joe Pyfer. The Pied Piper. I mean, that's not his name, but if you listen to this, I think he should be called the Pied Piper. Piper's dumb. He gets through by complete talent. He's like the Denver Broncos, terrible coaching, but great talent. I think that Abus could possibly win. Abus can wrestle a little bit, and maybe Piper goes down. Piper's hard to take down, but if he's finally fighting a guy that's his size, 6'2", 185, right? That's kind of what I'm looking at in this situation. I didn't take it yet, but I'm just saying it's under consideration. I'm going to dive in and talk to some sharper sports UFC guys than me, and see, what their thoughts are. And, I'm really leaning towards the dog here. And there's just very few dogs in this event. This is in Las Vegas at T-Mobile. Not a lot of value on the dogs, and I'm more of a dog bettor, I guess, unless I'm parlaying, right? So that's my problem. Looking at the Pied Piper, his grappling stats, takedown defense 60%, a modest 60%. He can get up though. Significant strikes are pretty close. Abus is 3.21, but that's only because he's taking people down more often. 3.74 for Piper, and it's not like Abus is the greatest takedown artist either. He only lands 57% of it, so he's sitting there failing his takedowns. It's going to gas him, and then Piper could win. That's my problem on this handicap. I don't know. Interesting undercard. You got Shabazian as well, and Shabazian's a massive favorite against Muniz. I'm not buying into that one. Chris Gutierrez, I tried to be on Gutierrez at plus 375, but Fareed Basharat is just too good, and he's going to school Gutierrez, in my opinion. I feel like Gutierrez was overvalued for a while. Yeah, it's just one of those really fun top end cards. With Mirab. Corey Sandhagen, obviously, Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev, and then you got Yuri and Khalil. So it's a fun card to get, but the undercard, a little bit less than be desired. Punahele Soriano's doing better, though, lately as he dropped down to 170. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this card a little bit later. So to recap, my official plays, the Browns plus 4.5, the Saints money line plus 120. Browns are going to be my beer bet banger for beer money. And then I also like the teaser, Jets to 8.5, with the Cardinals down to 1.5. My friends, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions for us, feel free to tweet us at The Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe. That's going to help us in the algorithm. And since we switched hosts, we did lose some downloads. If you can do us a huge favor on Spotify and on Apple, please give us a 5-star review, and I'll give it a shout out as soon as I can on this show. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy all the fights. Enjoy all the games. And go get some